Hey guys, welcome back to another video over here on the Chinese Zodiac and Horoscopes. Today we're going to be doing a reading for all you guys born in the year of the dragon. So welcome back all my dragon friends. How are we doing this week? Let's find out. It is of course Karmic Wednesdays for those two karmic signs, the dragon and the snake. Let's just move these around a bit, we'll shuffle them up and we'll see what we get. Let me just get a feel of it. You have to remember as well that I do shuffle with my eyes closed, so you have to bear with me a little bit here. And let's stop about there. And we'll take that one from the bottom. We'll take that one from the middle. We'll take that one from the top. What have we got? Okay, so we've got one white, two blacks. Looks a bit negative or on that negative side, especially as we move into that. But as I always try to stress and as I always try to say, black isn't always an attack. White isn't always right. It is about the compatibility of the cards on the other side. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so that's not a great card, is it? Even the positive one. Oh dear, that is not good. Everybody has a conflict. Everybody has an opposite. Everybody has a sign or a person that they just won't get on with. There just will never be any common ground. And yours, as a dragon, your conflict is the dog. They are incredibly incompatible. They do not get along whatsoever, and they have a really bad conflict with each other. Some signs that are conflict signs, they just avoid each other or they just remain strangers, whereas dragons and dogs, they tend to have it out with each other a lot. It's quite a bad one, and there's a communication problem here, but there's more than that, because this is a positive dog, so it's not necessarily the worst dog that you could get. The black dog would have been a lot worse. I don't want to tempt fate because we've got two blacks here, but it could be worse with that white in here. I think right now though, you are feeling quite protective, you're feeling quite defensive, you're feeling quite, you know, I want to say vulnerable in ways that you're not entirely sure on how to handle, or you're not really used to. You haven't been in a place like this before, and I think communication is key. You need to talk about this and express that. People aren't gonna, or a person or the things that are around you are never gonna understand you if you close up and never go into any detail about what you're actually going through and what's actually happening. You need to communicate. Don't put up any blockages, because if you do, or if you have, you are going to end up in a negative place. And you can handle negative places. You'll get on with it. You've got that sort of determination and that persistence to push on through and not let things get you down and not let things, you know, get on top of you. But having that dog there, this is going to set you up now to literally be in a place of I think unsureness, uncertainty, and definitely some sort of conflict. Communication is the thing that's actually going to suffer the most out of this. We've got the snake card coming in though, the opposite of the dragon, the negative karmic card, because the dragon of course is the positive karmic sign and the snake is the negative karmic sign. So we've got a bit of karmic energy around, we've got a bit of negative karmic energy coming in, but at least that snake is more compatible with you than the dog. This is a good example of the black not always being an attack, because this is actually a good card. This is a card to remind you to take a step back and actually look after yourself here. You need to be selfish sometimes, and that's hard because you've got some sort of obligation or some sort of like egotistical obligation and duty to help people. You've got this kind of need to just kind of like be there and do stuff, and it's not people pleasing. It's not necessarily people pleasing. It's almost like they're not good enough to do. That's kind of what it is, even though it sounds bad. It's just they're not good enough to do it. They just can't help themselves. They can't fix it themselves. They can't do that themselves. So they need you to come in and save them and be the hero of the hour. And if you're not there, then everything's going to fall apart, basically. But you can't allow that to dictate you know, everything that you do in life, you need to take a step back for you. You need to be selfish sometimes. You need to withdraw. And it's not defeat. It's not defeat. It's not surrendering. It's not losing. It's not coming second. It's just taking a step back to evaluate the situation. That is a thinker, a thinking card. And you need to think right now. You need to put your mind to it and actually consider what is going on. Is it worth your time? Is it just a case of you're just doing everything and picking up all the pieces because you think you're helping everybody, or you think you're, you know, basically being supportive of other people, or trying to, like I say, have this duty to help people, or a duty of care to people, an obligation that other people may potentially be taking advantage of, when really you should just take a step back. Just back off a little bit. Just kind of try and see what happens, or at least observe what happens when you're not there. Is it really that dysfunctional without you? Maybe that's something that potentially is a good experiment for you to try. The snake and the dragon, of course, do have this affinity for success. They are very attracted to each other, and they do get along very, very well. They're very successful and have a very compatible relationship. So it's not all bad. It's not all doom and gloom. I think right now you need to focus, ruthlessly focus, because you need to be practical right now. This is now an opportunity for you to really show off that never give up philosophy, to show off that kind of heroic stance that you hold. And it's not going to be by helping other people or having an obligation to help other people. It's not. You can't be the hero of everybody. You can't save everybody. What is really going to do it is you looking after yourself. You actually being there for yourself. Another thinking card. Okay, so we've got two thinking cards here, the snake and the ox. Now the ox, again, isn't that incompatible. The dragon and the ox will actually get on really well. Not as well as the snake and the dragon, but the dragon and the ox will definitely get on very well. And these two, of course, are in the same affinity triangle. So we've both got these, we've got two of the thinkers. These are both thinkers of that triangle. We're just missing the rooster here. But we've obviously got something on our mind, something that we're dealing with, something that is quite, I'd say in some ways, a test. It's a test. It's testing you. And this is a time for patience. It's time for you to have that self-respect. It's time for you to take a step back and just put things on pause, and that's okay. This isn't stopping, as I say. This isn't being defeated. This isn't surrendering. It's putting it on pause. You need to put stuff on pause and take care of yourself, because if you don't, the world is going to domineer you, or at least it's going to try, and then you're going to have to push back, and then you're going to have to fight and protest it, and then it's going to get messy, and then there's going to be blood and fire and chaos and destruction, and it's going to be all messy and a complete war zone. And that is what is happening, because you're going to shift into that. And if you don't pay attention to what is going on, before you know it, somebody's going to make you snap. Somebody's going to be on your last sort of straw here. It's basically going to be the straw that breaks the dragon's back. And instead of it actually breaking your back, it's just going to ignite your fury and end up burning everything to the ground. So you really need to think about this. You really need to reflect on this. You really need to take a step back and consider what is best for you right now. What is best for you in the situation that you are going through? Don't worry about people pleasing. And I know it's not people pleasing. It's just this obligation to just be the hero. Forget that. Stop that. At least this week, take a step back. Let things run their course. See how things go. See what happens. If things fall apart and you can see it actually falling apart, then yes, swoop on in, save the day. But maybe it won't, and maybe people are just taking advantage of the fact that you are going to pick up the slack, and you need to be aware of this, because otherwise you're just doing everybody else's jobs. You know, if everybody's just taking advantage of you and using you because you are too busy doing what you do, then you need to definitely reevaluate the situation. It may not even be anything to do with work. This could be anything. I mean, the snake is quite an emotional card. You know, it's quite emotionally invested in things. So potentially this is something more than just work. Potentially it's you doing more than you should in some circumstance. You're going up and beyond and rising above your station in a place where that sort of place or circumstance or situation doesn't necessarily warrant it or make it necessary for you to be that way. We'll find out when we come back and do another reading for you guys, the dragon people. I'll be back on in a bit for the reading for the snake people. If I don't see you then, I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching, guys. Love and peace.